Bonjour, hi, Canada. Hugh Hewitt. I am trying to catch up with a breaking story out of Atlanta that is very, very sad, and its details are sketchy. First reports always are, but 8 people have been killed in Atlanta overnight in 2 shootings at massage parlors. And let me just read you the New York Times intro. 8 people were shot to death at 3 massage parlors in the Atlanta area on Tuesday evening, the authorities said, raising fears that the crimes may have targeted people of Asian descent. 6 of the people killed were Asian, 2 were white, according to law enforcement officials. All but 1 were women. A suspect, identified as Robert Aaron Long, 21 of Woodstock, Georgia, was captured in Crisp County, about 150 miles south of Atlanta, after a manhunt, said the authorities, who had earlier released a surveillance image of a suspect near a Hyundai Tucson outside one of the massage parlors. Although it was not clear whether there was a racial motivation in the shootings, Stop AAPI Hate, formed to prevent anti-Asian discrimination during the coronavirus pandemic, called them an unspeakable tragedy for both the victims' families and the Asian American community that has been, quote, reeling from high level of racist attacks. The Atlanta police initially characterized the shooting as one of the parlors as a robbery in progress. The suspect in custody is white. The Washington Post account is, shootings at 3 Atlanta area massage partners left 8 people dead on Tuesday, including 6 Asian women, spurring concern among advocates and police that the killings could be the latest in a surge of hate crimes against Asian Americans. Police arrested Aaron Long, 21, after a brief manhunt. Authorities said they do not yet know of a motive in the killing, which left 4 women, all of Asian descent, dead inside 2 massage parlors, and 4 other people, including 2 Asian women, killed in another parlor in nearby Cherokee County. The violence stoked fears in a community already reeling from attacks and racist targeting and left police from Seattle to New York mobilizing to add protection for Asian Americans. It seems clear to me that one would have to assume it is a race-based assault until otherwise. It sounds like Dylan Roof walking into Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston, South Carolina, years ago, to a Bible study at which all the participants were black, going to a place that he knew where his victims would be African American and killing them. And we don't know anything about this other than that's what it appears. I'll keep you posted as news occurs throughout the day. A lot of show today. Glenn Youngkin is joining me, the next governor of Virginia. We're going to talk about the current governor of Virginia and his latest nuttery. We've got Jane Timken, who's running for Senate in Ohio. My friends John Allen and Amy Parnes are here. They're the co-authors of the brand new bestseller, Lucky, How Joe Biden Barely Won the Presidency. They'll be on in the last hour today. Josh Kroshauer, David Cortman from Alliance Defending Freedom, our friend Mike Gallagher. Lots to talk about today. Let me do a quick rundown of news other than the shootings in Atlanta. 2 new cases of a coronavirus in England linked to the Philippines. It's a new variant. Remember, variants are the danger. We're getting ahead of this thing. We're up to 70 million vaccines, shots administered in the United States. By May, I believe we will have reached that magical herd immunity. It doesn't mean no one will get sick, but it'll mean that life can get back to normal. But a variant would change everything, turn everything upside down. We don't know yet whether the variant from the Philippines is like the variant from Britain, effectively disabled by the vaccines that we have. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary Mayorkas, said that illegal boarding crossings are at a 2-decade high. It's the worst it's been in 2 decades. Took Joe Biden 2 months. Got to the worst in 2 decades. Meanwhile, according to Axios, there have been 4 terror watch list suspects arrested at the border. 4. That's what they're telling us about. 3 of them from Yemen, 1 from Serbia. All right, that is not good news. The whole world knows that the Biden administration has basically suspended border enforcement. They have telegraphed a message, come one, come all in free, and as a result, we are overwhelmed, even though they say they didn't mean to do that. They have done it. U.S. intelligence agencies discovered that Putin authorized pro-Trump influence campaign. That's pretty predictable coming from a Biden intelligence apparatus. Honestly, it's a Steele dossier part 500. They meddle in every election. They influence every election. They try to imply that Trump won the first time because of Putin. There is no proof of that. They just meddle. Biggest news of the day in terms of history, Dead Sea Scrolls discovered. And I have linked to this in the Times of Israel. It's astonishing what they have found. They found a 10,000-year-old basket, maybe the oldest artifact anywhere in the world, a basket. And they found thousands of pieces of varied ancient scripture to add to the, a piece can be one letter. It's really quite amazing, and it's an adventure story using drones and repelling people. I can't read it to you. It goes on forever, but the Cave of Horror is 80 meters below the cliff face, and there were 40 skeletons of the Bar Kokhba rebels discovered during excavations in the 50s and 60s, but Israel sent the pros back, and they have now found just an amazing haul. It's going to upend biblical studies again. I knew a fella, Mark Roberts, has been on the show a few times, who had some connection to the first Dead Sea Scrolls study. Now, what they ought to do is what they did with the virus. Post pictures immediately of every fragment and let the world's intellectual community go to work jointly. The last time they did the opposite. They gave them into the possession of one scholar who was not exactly normal, and it went off the rails and no one saw it. No one heard about it for years and years and years. Transparency, transparency, transparency. Let's see what they've got. It's mostly minor profits, but we'll see. Great Britain announced yesterday they're going to add nuclear weapons to their stockpile. Boris is going big. It's the only way for him to stay relevant, for the United Kingdom to stay relevant in the competition with the world's nuclear power, so he is going that way. Good for Boris. Mitch McConnell took to the floor of the Senate yesterday to lay down the law on the filibuster, if in fact Democrats change the filibuster rules. And Joe Biden said last night he's in favor of doing so. He said that to George Stephanopoulos, cut 21.
So you're not likely to get Republican votes for the tax increase. You're not likely to get Republican votes for H.R. 1, expanding voting rights, or the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. So aren't you going to have to choose? I know you've been reluctant to do away with the filibuster. Aren't you going to have to choose between preserving the filibuster and advancing your agenda?
Yes. But here's the choice. I don't think you have to eliminate the filibuster. You have to do it what it used to be when I first got to the Senate and back in the old days when you used to be around there. And that is that a filibuster, you had to stand up and command the floor. And you had to keep talking alone. You couldn't call for, no one could say, quorum call. Once you stopped talking, you lost that, and someone could move in and say, I moved the question of. So you got to work for the filibuster.
So you're for that reform. You're for bringing back the talking filibuster.
I am. That's what it's supposed to be.
So here's Mitch McConnell's response, cut number 7.
Two protections for conscience and the right to life of the unborn. Concealed carry reciprocity in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Massive hardening of security on our southern border. We saw during amendment votes just days ago that some common sense Republican positions actually enjoy more support right now than some of the Democratic committee chairs' priorities.
Mitch then goes on to tell people it will be a scorched earth Senate. I will play that for you when we get back. A little bit long to jam in here, but scorched earth is the operative term. Don't go anywhere, America. Lots of news today, lots of news, and you'll hear it all right here on the Hugh Hewitt.